was the hours I had to spend learning this. When you sit down and you're not smart, and you have a disability, and you still want to be at the top of your class, I want to get by. When I realized that I can learn through hard work, and I can beat the valedictorian in school, but I got put in 10 hours more a day than he does. You know what kind of strength comes from that? When you're sitting down, that guy, that valedictorian studied for an hour, and you know, I caught you, and I am dumb, but I have the work ethic to catch you. That's where David Goggins got really invented, was at a kitchen table with 20 spiral notebooks that were empty. And then 3 months later, they were full. And when you can go through that, that's what happened in my storage unit. You go through these spiral notebooks of your life, and you're like, this is how I learned. This is unbelievable. There's no miles. It's not about the miles. It's that. Having a discipline every day to say, for me to learn this one math problem, it's going to take me 10 hours. And that's where and you realize through hard work, you can outwork anybody, no matter how badass they are. But that's the part people don't want to dive into. These are the facts, and they're undisputed. Your problems in your past aren't on anybody else's agenda. Not really. You may have a few people in your inner circle who care about what you're going through. But for the most part, no one gives a shit because they're dealing with their own issues and focused on their own lives. I learned that the hard way on our drive from Buffalo to 117 South McGuire Street in Brazil, Indiana, when I was 8 years old. I assumed I was going to walk into the biggest pity party of all time. I expected balloons, cake, ice cream, and big warm hugs. Instead, it was as if all the pain and terror never happened. Sergeant Jack didn't deal in pity. He was out to harden my shell. And that's exactly what he did. Pity is a soothing balm that turns toxic. At first, when your family and friends commiserate with you and validate the reasons you have for grumbling about your circumstances, it lands like sympathy. But the more comfort pity brings you, the more external validation you'll crave and the less independent you will become, which will make it that much more difficult for you to gain any traction in life. That's the vicious cycle of pity. It saps self-esteem and inner strength, which makes it harder to succeed, and with each subsequent failure, you will be more tempted to pity yourself. Look, I get it. Life isn't fair or easy. A lot of us are doing a job that we don't want to do. We feel we are above the tasks coming our way and that the world or God or the fates have sentenced us to live in a box we do not belong in. When I was a night shift security guard at a local hospital, I felt that work was beneath me. So I showed up every night with a voice in my head screaming, I don't want to be here. And that infected everything about my life. I ate my feelings, blew up, and slipped into a deep depression. I wanted a different life, but my shitty attitude made it impossible to create one. Every minute you spend feeling sorry for yourself is another minute not getting better, another morning you miss at the gym, another evening wasted without studying, another day burned when you didn't make any progress towards your dreams, ambitions, and deepest desires. The ones you've had in your head and heart your entire life. Every minute you spend feeling sorry for yourself is another minute spent in the dungeon thinking about what you lost or the opportunities that have been snatched away or squandered, which inevitably leads to the Great Depression. When you're depressed, you're likely to believe that nobody understands you or your plight. I used to think that way. But when Sergeant Jack banged that trash can lid inches from my ear in the morning.
This thing goes on for like 15 more minutes, so I'm probably going to stop here. But the gist of what I'm trying to convey today isn't just to you guys, it's to myself. It's just a reminder that when things are hard, you got to pick yourself back up and you got to move forward. And things can be hard. Investing can be really, really hard. If it was easy, everyone would be rich. But it's not, right? When Bitcoin goes sideways for a year, right? When it goes sideways for a year, and let me just pull this up here. It can be really disheartening, especially when the proxies for it are down 60 to 70% or more. You know, the shit coins just got wiped out this last year. Clean Spark's down like 70%. I think Mara's down 65. There's just, and even MicroStrategy, I mean, what is that down? It's a huge amount too. You know, all these things happen, but then when you step back and you look at the macro of what's going on in the world around us, is that a strategy t-shirt? Yes, sir, it is. I think, let me see here. Yes, I got one of these, and I also have my new mug from Strategy B. Isn't that fancy? And I got a backpack, I think, over here too. I got one of these, so I'm excited about that. Got to do a bunch of working out, man. I need to look better in my shirt, but. Yes, I've got my fire shirt on today. That came this last week. I'm very excited about it. But yeah, so look at this chart. Look at this chart, guys. So this chart takes us back to 2021 when we had our double top because the Fed raised rates at the most aggressive rate in history. I love to point that out. And then down to 2022, the depths. I remember everybody down here when we were down in the 15,000s saying that we were going to go down much further. It's always further with people. In fact, the more bearish they get, the further it's going to go. And so it's just, there's people probably right now, I think I saw, I don't even know all the names of these people. There's so many bears right now. But there's people calling for 40s. There's people calling for the 50s. There's people calling for the 30s. There's always these people, right? But they never get what they want. And then we bounce back up here. And I mean, look at this. This is like an inverse Head and Shoulders. Again, here, huge head, really tiny right shoulder, which is great. That's what you want to see. And then we pumped up, we stopped, we back tested this move going back to 2021. And now we're rocketing up off. This is the perfect technical breakout. And it's not just this. There's a ton of stuff that looks like this across the macro. There's a lot of things that look like they're ready to go. Palantir, yeah. I mean, Palantir, again, we were talking about it bottoming last week. Even though I'm not a fan of the current valuation, I mean, it's in a technically great space, right? Like it did end up closing a large gap over here. It's got some more. It's got some other big gaps. So if things do end up turning around towards the downside, which I don't think they're going to. I think that's the big surprise, right? The thing that people don't realize is max pain. Max pain is usually what gets people. And they all hop on the same bandwagon like a bunch of fucking sheep, just getting herded by the markets. And so what are people expecting? The vast majority are expecting the depression. So many people are talking like Great Depression, like everything's falling apart. The doomers have never been happier than the last few weeks. And so there's been that. and then other people are like, oh, it's going to get better, but it's going to get better in like Q4, Q3 maybe. Well, I think it's going to happen a lot quicker than that because I think markets like to do max pain, and so I think we're gonna get a lot better. And again, beautiful bounce. We had this green zone, went all the way into it, just off the edge of it with Palantir, and then we started going higher. Right? We started going higher, and now Palantir's up 2.78%. It's nothing compared to the 5% that MicroStrategy's up, the 4% for Tesla, the 4.2% for Mara, the 4% for CleanSpark. Soul Strategies, that one play that I started buying last week, it's going to be interesting to see how much that's up, with Solana being up 7.55% today. I'm imagining it's a lot. And then when I look at this little crypto bubble chart, it looks like a lot of shit coins are having a pretty good week, right? And the day today isn't bad either. Render, that's a big one. I don't even know how's my Trump coin doing. How's Trumpy? How's little Trump? Little baby Trump. Let's check on little baby Trump. We did get Donald Trump talking about how his shitcoin was the greatest. I love that. Some people are like, "What the fuck is that about?" I'm just like, I don't know. I kind of dig it. It's like social used to be, right? It's like social used to be. That social was like the thing that people invested in for Trump. Well, now it's a shitcoin, guys. You just got to get used to it. You got to keep up. So I think this one's going to do all right. We did have an 88% drawdown on it, and there's some room to run here. Let me just to get back to the previous all-time high. It's 575%. And this thing, what is the volume? Or I got to check real quick. What's the market cap on our favorite shitcoin? Does anybody know off the top of their head? Let's take a look here. Official Trump, number 41. What is the market cap? 2.37 billion. So there are market caps. Let's just look here. Bitcoin, obviously, in its own league. XRP, just a piece of shit. We all know about that. It's getting smaller, XRP. Solana's getting bigger. So XRP's up 1.9% because nobody gives a fuck about it. Solana's up 7%. Ethereum's up 3.9%. And then some of these others are doing okay. Where's little baby Trump? Does anybody see little baby Trump? Is he on here? Where is he hiding? He's so tiny. He just can't even... Fuck, I don't even see him. You guys tell me in chat. Do you see little baby Trump? He's on here somewhere. He's number 44 out of 100. But if we start looking at some of these caps, like let's just look at, let's just BNB, right? BNB is really nothing. It's a $92 billion market cap. You don't think Trump can pump that bitch up a little bit? I do. I think it could be, again, 30, 50, $100 billion. It's retarded. But once you get to max excitement, if Trump's created a really good economy and if he gives any kind of utility to his stupid fucking coin, I could see it going up a lot. But I digress. We got a lot of people talking in chat here. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Why are the markets up today? Why are they up today? I would say that's a few things. But I'd say that the narrowing scope of Trump's tariffs is probably one of them. We'll look at that. And then we've got Russia. We got Russia, Saudi Arabia, and Ukraine talks again today. It sounds like Ukraine and Russia are both bombing each other's critical infrastructure, which is the one thing they're not supposed to be doing. But that's okay. We expect, a few bumps in the road towards peace. That's a pretty normal thing. We got Kash Patel. Again, pushing the FBI out into the field to have them actually try and arrest the most wanted. And for the first time, I don't even think under Biden's presidency, any of the top 10 most wanted on the FBI list were caught. But now we already have 3 of them caught under Kash Patel in 2 months. This is just going to get better. But let's look here. So let's go into what happened with the Trump tariffs and talk about that real quick. And I'm gonna drink some coffee while we talk it out here. So
Investing.com. U.S. President Donald Trump is planning a narrower, more targeted agenda for increased trade tariffs set to take effect on April 2nd, reports from Bloomberg and the Wall Street Journal said on Sunday. Trump is now expected to not impose industry-specific tariffs next week and will instead apply reciprocal duties only on a targeted set of countries that account for a bulk of the U.S. foreign trade, the report said. Trump has repeatedly touted April 2nd as his Liberation Day for the U.S. when he has threatened to impose tariffs against major U.S. trading partners in line with their duties on U.S. exports. He had earlier warned that key industries such as automobiles, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, and commodities will be targeted with more duties. But this will no longer be the case, reports over the weekend showed, citing administration officials with knowledge of the matter. The report said it was now unclear whether Trump's sectoral tariffs, along with higher duties on Canada and Mexico, will come to pass. Trump had earlier in March flip-flopped on tariffs against the 2 countries. Trump's reciprocal tariffs are also expected to be more targeted than initially thought, the report showed. The WSJ reported that the White House is looking at applying tariffs on about 15% of nations with persistent trade balances with the U.S. as so-called Dirty 15, according to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Targeted nations are expected to include the GATT nations, along with India, Japan, China, and Vietnam, all of which have large trade imbalances with the U.S. Third-party ad, not an offer or recommendation by investing.com. See disclosure here or remove ads. While Trump's tariffs will still ramp up the cost of importing in the U.S., their limitation to the so-called Dirty 15 is expected to dampen their overall economic disruption. Each targeted nation will be imposed with tariffs based on their trading relationship with the U.S. Concerns over disruptions stemming from Trump's tariffs had ramped up in recent weeks, fueling fears of rising inflation and slowing economic growth. The U.S. president had earlier in March slapped China with a 20% trade tariff, drawing retaliation from Beijing. Canada, Mexico, and the European Union also warned of retaliatory action against Trump's tariffs.
And you know what happened? Then they just slammed them with even more tariffs. You guys remember the EU? Remember how they were gonna tax our whiskey or something 50%, and then Trump said, "I'll tax your alcoholic beverages by like 200%." They stopped that tariff really quick. In fact, everybody that's tried to do retaliatory stuff has rolled back. Canada hasn't done all of them, but they're going to get utterly fucked. I think Pierre Poilievre, however the fuck you say his name, I think he's going to win the election, which is happening in a month now. Isn't that crazy? Mark Carney thinks all of a sudden he would take advantage of the polling and try and win an election. I think that's going to fuck him, absolutely. Because I've said this before, but I think Trump endorsing Mark Carney was deliberate sabotage to destroy that man's campaign. And it's brilliant, and it's what's happening. Guys, if you look down in the bottom left corner, you'll see that Bitcoin is getting ready to break out of what has been a downtrend for over 4 months now. Pretty cool. I'm liking that. Well, technically the downtrend is only like 2.5 months, a little less than that. But again, this is good stuff. This is what we want to see. We can do more Vance and Trump stuff in a second, but I want to jump over to U.S. economic, and then Bitcoin and Tesla. There's so much good stuff here. So let's just get through it as fast as we possibly can. Also, it's 7:10. Let's look at economic data. What are we getting today? Let's just refresh here real quick. So it looks like we got some Mexican economic activity. We can probably scan through that. Core inflation data mid-month. It's interesting they do a mid-month report. So their inflation shows lower than expected for consensus and forecast for the mid-month core. And then their mid-month inflation rate was 3.67%. It's lower than their previous. And again, it's lower than consensus and forecast. Their forecast was 3.8. So they're starting to see the lower inflation that we were talking about because we're smart enough to listen to Truflation, where we get accurate reporting on inflation-related data, because these guys have APIs that are tied in with all the major economic sectors of the economy. And so we can see that we actually actually have. So again, in December, we went from like the 2.3s down to February where we started hitting the low 2s, down to the 1.3, 1.4 range, and now we're bouncing up a little bit. So again, we're kind of averaging probably 1.5% so far this month. But again, it's in the right direction. Even though we're getting a bounce, it's in the right direction. Things are looking good. May rate cut on table yet? Yeah, I think so. But I don't know that it has to happen. We'll talk about more of that in a little bit. But yeah, let's just look at through economic data. So we have, for real estate, we got bar chart. I kind of oppose most of the stuff bar chart says nowadays, even though I love these guys. They were probably one of the first groups that really promoted me, which I greatly appreciated. MicroStrategy acquired 6,911 Bitcoin. Who is fucking surprised by that? Let's just pull this shit up. 1 second here. We got the bat signal over the weekend talking about more orange dots. So I guess this is not too surprising. So let's just pull it up, see what we got here. Is that a baby sailor? That's not the real sailor. That's a fake sailor. That's a fake sailor. Where's a real sailor? You know what? I should just go over here. Ooh, I like that chart. Let's go over. Let's go over here. I'm sure we got something. Somebody's posting this. Oh, yeah. There it is. Right off the strategy site where you can get this shirt and this mug and the backpack. I'm still waiting on my carabiner and a few other things, but they had to back order them because there's so many people that were excited about it, which is pretty cool. All right, so I'll just dump that under Bitcoin. All right, cool. So yeah, that's a decent chunk. What's the yield right now? So $84,000. They bought them for $84,529. Holy shit! Michael Saylor actually kind of bought a bottom. Has achieved a BTC yield of 7.7% year to date for 2025. Not bad start on the year. As of 3/23/2025, we hodl 506,137 Bitcoin. That is more than China and the United States combined. Maybe throw in Russia too. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Liking it. All right, let's get back over here. So what were we talking about? Let me just go through this real quick. And let me just look at chat real quick. CleanSpark mining, 23 plus a day now. They're on track for 700 this month, 700 Bitcoin. First time they're hitting that number since the halving. So they've been able to grow. Even though people have been shitting on them and hate them right now and hate Matthew Schultz for blocking everybody. They just absolutely despise him. But that's okay, because that's why it's down 70%. And that's our edge. That's where we find the money. Because people don't pay attention to this, but as institutional investors buy the shit up while all the retail is panic selling, that ends up benefiting us, right? Like our poor buddy, Stock Trader Max. We lost him last week. Again, I don't want to shit on him though. It's like everybody has their thing. But the thing to look at, and let me see, institutional is in here. This isn't a great chart for it. But institutional is like 54% right now, and this chart has grown a bunch. Do you guys have a good place too for looking up institutional ownership growth? I don't know where everybody looks. If you guys know, throw it out in the chat. Because we should be looking at more of that. Let's see, where's the CNN Fear and Greed Index? Let's bounce around. We're going to have some fun today. So, and plus I never even looked at when the economic data is coming out. We should probably do that. We're still at extreme fear of 23. That's where I like it. Let's look at the crypto side of things. 45, still pretty in fear and not even towards neutral yet. Maybe we'll inch our way there towards it today. Let's go back to economics. So again, the inflation data out of Mexico was good. The economic activity was actually not as bad as expected. It met consensus, and it was better than the negative 1.1 forecast. So their business barometer looks like shit for Canada. Oh yeah, Canada's a fucking joke. Look at this. This is actually horrific, guys. So let's look at this. So the business barometer, we've got the lows of the dot-com bubble over here. We've got the lows of the 2008 great financial crisis, called great for a reason, right? We've got the pandemic lows, and then we've got where the Canadian economy is at right now at a 25. It only goes to 0. 24.8 actually is where we're at right now. So maybe people are super bearish on Canada. I think that changes though when Pierre wins the election in a month. And I think that's what's going to happen. Mark Carney is the new Kamala Harris, just a lighter skin tone. So, and again, Kamala was definitely black, right? Not Indian. Let's just put that out there. Sorry, I don't even know why I said that. I just fucking hate her so much. But you know what? We have been relieved of what has been. And now we're sitting in a beautiful place and we're making our country great. And Canada's going to do the same thing, man. Canada's going to get there too. Have faith, guys. If you're Canadian, have some faith. It's going to be okay. All right, real quickly, Solana up to 8.3% now, and climbing. And my Soul Strategies that I bought last week, guys, going to make so much money off of that. People are going to get super jelly. As you know, if you're subscribed to me, if you're on Discord, if you're on X, if you watch my YouTube videos, you see this shit, right? So there's no, you guys see what's coming. So in here, bar chart said investor allocation to equities is at an all-time high. And so they got debt, cash, and equities. And I put, what are they going to do? Buy real estate? No way. Not until rates come down or we see prices dropping further. Because think about it. Like, who's going to buy real estate? It's even more expensive. It's still going up because of lack of supply, definitely in residential. I think we're going to see a ton of foreclosures in multifamily housing. I listened to some brilliant people that are in the real estate space or just macroeconomists that really are honed in on it. And they're saying that you're going to see multifamily, you're going to see some commercial pain. That's going to be coming. And then residential, you'll start to see maybe that pull down for price. And that's all good. It's all good for us, guys. It's not a big deal. So I'm just trying to say people are in equities for a reason, okay? They're in equities for a reason. All right, let's keep going here. Hopefully you guys are getting some good information. Where's my economy? Over here. All right, what else we got in here? Thanks, bro. Good morning. I think so too, but I'm not sure if it worked. Polyev. I don't know what we're talking about there. Matt Macron, nice shirt, man. Thank you, bro. History guy scalps, BTC above D200. So yeah, again, above the 200 moving average on the daily is what he's talking about. And you can see on the bottom left corner, I've just pulled that up. And I said, hey, we're grinding up against this. This is actually kind of beautiful. When you get this kind of, look at the volume around here. It's such a nice base that we've formed over this shorter time frame. If you look here, it's just a really easy run up to 91. I said we could even see that today. We'll see what happens. Again, some tariff bad news over the short term or something weird could definitely cause some problems, but I think we're going a lot higher. And again, we're touching that resistance level, guys. There's going to be a very short consolidation before we break out. I think 91 is imminent, and then I think the pressure comes at like 96, and maybe we like channel between here for a minute before we break out and establish a new all-time high. But I think that's weeks away, guys, max. So I'm pretty positive. What else we got here? May rate cut on the table. Yep, we already talked to that. And then we got strategy buying a bunch of stuff. We got rest in peace for Max. We got Danny saying Fintel is great for institutional charts. Fintel. Okay, all right, I'll check it out, bro. Thank you. Delta Drifter. IMF defined Bitcoin as a non-produced, non-financial asset, no counterparty liability, designed for a medium of exchange. I know, right? That's not a compliment. You got to realize these guys, there's somebody, I think Max Kaiser is talking about them stacking Bitcoin. I mean, maybe that is happening. I won't lie. That could be happening. But you got to realize at the same time, these shitheads are telling the United States not to buy any more Bitcoin or obtain more Bitcoin for our strategic reserve, and telling El Salvador not to do it or they're going to apply financial pressure to them. So they're not friendly to Bitcoin at all. There will be more attacks from them. I'm sure of it. Delta Drifter, medium of exchange, Bitcoin is about to explode. Yes, sir. Andy, I hope you're right, Jesse, that Pierre wins or else Canada is wrecked. I agree. You see, so here's your two options, guys. Pierre wins, or you're the 51st state. Just get used to it, man. Those are it. Those are your options, okay? You either get somebody who's actually going to help your fucking country, or just get used to being called America. Because you got a clear fucking choice in front of you. And if you can't do the right thing, I don't want to hear you bitch when you're our 51st state. You can shut the fuck up. All right. Mark DeCat, we're unburdened by what has been. We are. Isn't that great? What she didn't realize at the time, just like when the Biden administration forced Elon Musk to buy X, is that they were dooming themselves and actually telegraphing that their end was nigh, and it's great. Victor, good morning. Thank you. Luke, have you got a Mara chart? Similar. Yes, I do, but I haven't put it out yet, but I do have Mara. And I'm going to be posting a chart about it shortly, and I can just give you a little bit of a preview. That's kind of an ugly one. But so real quickly, so Mara went up 23,000% in the last cycle, 23,000. Massive dilution. You got to include dilution. Just looking at prices is nothing if you're not paying attention to the market cap. This cycle, they've only went up 1,000%, but I actually think we can go up another 540% with potential for overshoot. So if I'm remotely right about this, and right now this is a $4.28 billion market cap, so it's high. But if I'm right and it can go up 500%, that's going to put it around $24 billion market cap. If Trump's shitcoin can get to 30 billion, I'm going to say Mara can get to 25 billion. If it gets to this number, I don't even know what I make. I think it's $10 million just off of Mara. If I didn't sell it all, I'll be selling on the way up though. So I'm only shooting for $15 to $20 million this year. And right now I'm over 3. It's like 3.5 or 3.3 or something. I got hit pretty good with today. I think it'll be 3.5 or higher. But again, that's because I lean into pain. I get big drawdowns because I make massive gains and I lean into pain at the appropriate time. Sometimes a little early. But yeah, so I think I'll be finishing up this chart and posting it just like I did Bitcoin and Tesla and MicroStrategy and CleanSpark today. I'll be doing this too. I'll probably be doing a Solana one. I'll try and do a bunch. You guys just let me know in the comments of them what you want, and I'll get them up and I'll get them posted for you, okay? That way we give you some targets. And again, just remember, I might revise it later on. That's just how it works. This was a beautiful post, and I can't remember who shared it, but thank you for sharing it. I wanted to cover it. It says, once the tariffs go into effect on April 2nd, the USA trade policy will be changed for a very long time, if not forever. Forever. It's an inflection point. This is a very big deal, but I don't think most people understand the inflection point we're about to make, or why. You know, why are we doing this? I don't think a lot of people even understand that. Some of the big money understands, hence the trillions pouring into the country. And again, there's not trillions pouring into the stock market because retail is fucking stupid, and so are international retail investors. They're investing in Europe, and even JP Morgan, you know what JP Morgan said some of the best performers are going to be? China, Europe, and Canada. Ugh. I mean, if you guys get Pierre, sure. But the rest of Europe is just money printing. And don't get me wrong, they don't run, some of them don't run the same deficits that we do. So some countries like Germany, they can print a lot of money. That just all goes into the M2. It all goes into the slush bowl. And we're going to make a lot of money off that. So it's cool. But let's keep going. But the trillions he's talking about is the $3.4 trillion in dedicated funds coming into America to be able to build here over the next 4 years. And the thing you got to realize is we just got a $1.4 trillion commitment from the UAE, right? The United Arab Emirates are talking about investing $1.4 trillion in the United States. And we're going to be doing a strategic, we got our strategic Bitcoin reserve, and we're going to have a sovereign wealth fund. It's going to be, and we got the gold card, and we got the lower tax environment, and we're going to lower more taxes, and we're just, it's going to be beautiful. But let's keep going. He said, we're switching from using trade policy to push foreign policy to use trade policy to push economic policy. That's a lot. Let's keep going. China adopted our type of trade policy with its Belt and Road Initiative to drive countries into their sphere of influence. Massive fucking horrific mistake. It's just imploding. Let's keep going. We were losing with that trade policy because we couldn't match slave labor, automation and manufacturing, and government controlling the private sector. I mean, we had butchered our manufacturing sector in this country for cheap labor. So that's 100% true. And again, government controlling the private sector. I would actually argue this. I think all the things that China's been doing are going to just destroy them. And are in the process of destroying them and have been for several years. You can look at all different kinds of indicators within their economy. But people think they're great because they're great at propaganda. And they spend a lot of time suppressing videos on YouTube of people that talk badly against China. And they show you pretty videos from far away of bright cities and big buildings. And you don't see the poverty. You don't see the average person making $450. What is it, like a month? $450 a month in income? That might be high. I could be wrong. It could be over a longer period of time. It's not good. But I think a lot of people don't realize that. So as they're declining, we're using our economic policies to be able to suck all the money back into our country because we've got the strongest service sector out there and we buy all the goods. But let's just listen to what he's talking about. Even though the open borders driving down wages and more government control of the private sector with regulations, we tried. Yeah, so we just fucked ourselves. Trump is totally abandoning that policy in that losing war. This is where it gets good. He's starting a whole new battle using our middle class to fight it, increasing our middle class with protectionist tariffs, securing our border to increase our middle class wages, using those wages and an increased purchasing power to make the USA the place to be to soak up supply. The revenues from tariffs will allow taxes to be reduced, creating more demand. China and all the other stuff that we're doing, because again, we're the greatest economy on earth, and we're the world reserve currency, and we're the ones embracing Bitcoin and crypto. China cannot match and lower energy prices, and we're encouraging development within all these technology sectors. China cannot match the demand because their middle class doesn't have these means. They don't even have a service sector. It's pathetic. All their money is tied up into real estate and savings. And their government will never allow their middle class to amass that means. It's totally opposed to Marxism, to have a rich, vibrant middle class. That's true. That's true, right? That's why all of a sudden we're seeing Xi Jinping step back from his social, everybody's going to get their money redistributed, and really attacking, the tech sector, attacking the foreign education sector, attacking the gaming sector, making it to where you can only game so many hours a week for adults, not just kids. As we know, governments in general, once they latch on to a new revenue stream fighting to end its multi-generational battle, see income tax, April 2nd is going to be game-changing. Some of that could have been worded better, but I like the gist of what he's talking about, and I think it's good. I'm going to follow him here real quick. Real quickly, though, before we go any deeper, let's just look over here. I made fun of Canada, and I never did look at what we have today. So we don't have anything today. Chicago National Fed comes at 12:30. I shouldn't say anything. Is that really that late? That doesn't make any sense. Why is it so late? No, okay. It's refreshed. It was broken or something. So 7:30, we have Chicago Fed national activity. That's right now. We also have Canadian manufacturing sales month over month. We'll check these out. And then the next data, the S&P Global, all the PMI, the manufacturing, the services, that comes out at 8:45. So we'll check that out too. We got a minute and a half. Let's see what else we can get through. Let's make fun of JP Morgan, shall we? JP Morgan Japan, EU, and China, not Canada. Japan, EU, and China to outperform. Japan has a bunch of problems, but they do have inflation kicking in. I have no idea why they're on the list of outperformance. The EU and China to outperform. Maybe their stock markets could for a couple of days. There's no way they're going to do that for the next 10 to 15 years. That's just the dumbest shit I've ever heard. And I have no idea why India isn't on the list. JP Morgan is fucking ridiculous. Jamie Dimon is, I don't know. I think the reason the USA isn't on the list is because they don't like the USA. They definitely don't like Trump. He's a liberal. He hated Bitcoin. He said it was trash. He said it was full of fraud. He's not clued in to the future or is trying to suppress it. For some World Economic Forum, International Monetary Fund, World Health Organization fucking initiative. I don't know. He's the Davos guy. So I listen to Jamie Dimon because he's smart and I can sometimes ascertain what's going to happen in the future based upon him. But yeah, Martin Pilda says it's all propaganda. Yes, 100%. Trump says 7 million new... which is 35 trillion to clean up the debt. No, dude. So if they issue, Trump thinks they can do 1 million cards. If they issue 1 million cars, just multiply that times $5 million. That's $5 trillion. That will more than take care of the deficit. 1 million cards will more than take care of the deficit. Let's put it this way: if we got 7, we would wipe out our entire debt. But just to get us on a balanced, sustainable path, $5 trillion would easily do that. You got to remember with Doge savings and everything else. So Chicago Fed national activity came in higher than expected. It was negative last read, 0.08. Forecast was 0.08. We got 0.18. Let's just take a look here. So we got 2 months out of 3 that are positive impulses. Let's go back here. So, and that hasn't really happened. I mean, we had May of 2024, which was lower. And then really we had the bounce from the bottom here in January of 2024 where it was really bad. This is like a trend higher. This looks good to me. This looks good. This looks like what you want to see. Let's see if Canada got their data in just 1 second here. Negative 0.2%, which is slightly better than forecasted, negative 0.3, worse than the 1.7% they had last month. But their manufacturing sector looks okay. But I got to say, it's probably going to see some pain. I think part of that is strength from trying to push exports to the United States. You got to remember, over 2/3 of their exports go to our country. So some of this is going to be pumped for February. Maybe March and April don't look as good. They probably don't look good. Trump says, Render OG's got a bunch of fireballs sitting here. I love that. Good morning, everyone, says Michael Krause. This is a friend of mine. We love you, Michael. How you doing, brother? I hope it's a profitable day. We'll see. We've been feeling pain for a year, so it doesn't have to be a profitable day. It could just be an okay, not shitty day, and people are going to feel a lot better. Let's get back to it though. So again, don't believe any of this shit. J.P. Morgan is a fucking joke. They might be one of the biggest banks in the world, but they're a joke. My buddy Seth Golden said hedge funds having one of their worst underperformance periods during current correction in 15 years. Got in late, getting out early. 95% of hedge funds underperform the market over every 10 and 20-year period. Wonder why. So remember how we were looking at charts and people were talking about how, guys, hedge funds are the shortest they've ever been. That's because they're fucking stupid and they suck at what they do. If I get a hedge fund, it looks like I'll be in the top 5% really easily because there's just no competition there because they're all morons. Kobayashi letter, and thank you. You guys love me. Thank you, Mark the Cat. I appreciate that. Kobayashi letter said, what is happening in Canada? We already covered this, but again, 9/11, Lehman, 2008 great financial crisis, COVID, Trump tariffs. Not a lot of optimism in Canada right now. Who is left to sell after foreign flows for U.S. equities achieved $16 trillion? Looks like foreign sales have achieved levels seen at COVID levels. SVIB, so the Silicon Valley Bank lows, and now tariff market lows. Deleveraging to this degree reeks of washout low. So again, pandemic, Silicon Valley Bank, Trump tariffs. Great time to buy. And we knew that, right? Because we're not retarded. Amit, hey Jesse, from a technical perspective, is today a good day to chase the up? I think it is. We could get a retrace and a back test. I think Friday was the good day, man. I was buying pretty hard on Friday. I was buying pretty hard. You guys saw me. I was just pumping out trades like fucking crazy on Friday. And I need to update my portfolio. I'll try and do it. I got to rebuild a fence. I've got to get rid of 2 old cars because of the 5 Teslas I have now. And 6 car loans for people. And I only use one of the cars. Whatever. So I've got to fix. I got so much to do this week. It's going to be fucking hard on me, and I want to get taxes started. So I'm really behind the 8 ball, but I'll try and get that stuff updated. Seth Golden, he said the year started on track with cycle composite 2025, but has deviated since late February. The good news is it should get on track again, which it usually does. The path regenerates the bull in a pretty big way. So again, you can see how the first couple of months aren't usually great. We get like a pump in the beginning of the year. That happened in January to Feb, right? And then you got sideways chop that normally happens. And so you can see our actual results versus the composite. And but our trend is up. It's up. The averages are up. And so once March ends here, this is the tough time frame of the year. A lot of people, you got to realize, are selling too. They're selling for tax season if they made a bunch of gains. So you get like this artificial downward pressure. Then you had everybody investing in U.S. equities at the largest amount in history. And then you had China pumping their markets, trying to get everybody to think that they're the biggest thing in the world. We got all the AI. We can do it better. We can do it cheaper. We steal all of it, but that's okay. We're better. And so you get to this point where eventually you have this shift down, and now we're ready for the up. Seth Golden, 1 week down and 1 week to go. So far, so good. What is he talking about? On March 13th, roughly 9 days ago, he said, bears beware of month-end, quarter-end rebalancing. Rebalancing and positioning favors bulls, estimating roughly $135 billion in flows favoring equities. So again, This is the rebalancing and the positioning, and then you also have stock buybacks, and then you have incredibly oversold conditions, and it just screams of a good time to go higher. This one shouldn't be in here, but I'm going to talk to it real quick because we'll probably jump to Tesla anyway. U.S. Oil and Gas Association. So the U.S. OGA, this is what I was talking about the other day, and I don't think I had it in here. Never thought we would find ourselves needing to defend our leading technological competitor, but here goes. We remind the governor of his own positions on EVs and by extension Tesla before he was beaten like a rented mule last November. Clean Cars Minnesota 2021. Waltz pushed for Minnesota to adopt California's stringent emission standards, aiming to boost EV adoption. He said, the puck is going to be in EVs, and that is irrefutable, signaling a belief in EVs as the future of transportation. Economic and job growth in 2021. He touted the clean car standards as a way to create jobs across every corner of the state while giving Minnesotans more choices at their local car dealers. Tesla, as a leading EV maker, directly benefits from such policies, employing thousands and driving innovation outcomes Waltz once celebrated. Again, 3.5% of the state pension fund is in Tesla, and this dipshit was celebrating its downfall and encouraging it. Regional EV charging network. The Midwest has the ingenuity and the drive to develop innovative solutions to curb climate change. Quote, Tesla's supercharger network, a cornerstone of EV adoption, aligns with this vision, yet now he cheers its setbacks. My, how things have changed. What a piece of shit this guy is. And then he had to retract his statements and say it was a joke. He's just a fucking moron. The only thing this man is good for is making sure that men have tampons. That is it. That's his sole benefit to the world. I can't wait to see this piece of shit lose the next election. Or I don't know, maybe people in Minnesota are too fucking stupid to do that. It's possible. Did you call hedge funds morons? Yes, because they're fucking stupid. Almost every one of them are fucking stupid. Over a 10 to 20 year time frame, they underperform the broader market by 95% of them underperform the broader market. So yes, hedge funds are fucking stupid. Most of them suck ass. Kobayashi letter, the collapse of the U.S. consumer. Ooh, scary. Unemployment expectations in the U.S. are now above 2020 levels, at their highest since 2008. In 2024, a poll showed a whopping 56%. So here's the good thing about this. Most of these people are just getting fired because they do shit jobs, or maybe they work for home, or maybe they work two fucking jobs, and they don't actually do anything in the federal government, and so we fired their ass. You got to remember, there are 4.9 million federal employees. Do you know if you guys watched that interview with Chamath and David Friedberg and Howard Lutnick? That was so beautiful. I still haven't done the summary. I'm trying to find a really good tool that summarizes YouTube videos that I can use as a foundation to do it for me, and then I can add my own takes onto it, my notes. It would just make my life so much fucking easier. So I'm trying to figure that part out before I make a video. But so if you know of a tool, let me know. If you know the best one, please let me know. But 4.9 million jobs. Do you know how many, Howard Lutnick, do you know how many that he said Elon wanted to get rid of? 80%. 80 fucking percent. That's the number Elon wants to get rid of. And Howard's like, whoa, bro, whoa. He's like, I can get us to 50. I think we can do 50 logistically. But I don't know if we can do 80. You're crazy. But he's like, here's the deal. You do $1 trillion in savings. I'll do $1 trillion plus in extra income for this country. And we'll have this bitch balanced by 2026. And that is what they're doing. That is what they're doing. So again, we might have some job loss, but we want these jobs to be lost. It's the best thing for the country. Chicago National Fed Index. Yep, we looked at that already. Up 0.18%, better than January, better than expectations. Cool stuff. Mark the cat. You see all the normies on Reddit talking about buying June 100 puts. That's so funny. That's so funny. I hope they do. I hope they did. Nick, that was a phenomenal interview. Yes, it was. But you guys got to watch that interview. Tommy Davis, N8N for all AI and automation tax. I don't know what that is. Is that a crypto? Or is that a tool? Or what is that shit? Well-capitalized sellout. No tools. You have to build these tools. We have been for 2 years. For which? For YouTube summarization? No, I know there's some out there. I've used one. I just didn't like it. I didn't think it was good enough, but I'm trying to find like the best. I know there's people that use it. I'm pretty sure Amit uses it. I should ask him. I don't know if he'd tell me, but I mean, I'm sure probably would. I don't know. Some people have like their trade secrets, you know. Amit, Jesse, are you trimming anything today? Probably not. Probably won't do anything. Unless I just make too much money, and then maybe I'll do a very tiny, like 0.5% or something. Well-capitalized sellout. That's the point. You have to customize them to how you... Yeah, I don't know. I'm lazy. I don't want to customize shit. Kyle Wright. Do Fed employees show up in unemployment while they're on severance? I don't know if they do or not. I'll have to dig into the unemployment data more. I know I was looking at it, but I don't know that I can summarize and articulate it right now. But I don't think it's anything to worry about at all. I think what you're seeing is seeing some seasonality where you have a bunch of temp hires that you do over the holidays, and then you have people that you start letting go, and you probably kept those temp hires even longer because you had all these inventory influx because of the tariff threats, and then maybe you started firing some people because you didn't need them anymore on top of government employees getting let go. And I don't know, the government employees are going to get on there. Somebody asked Grok that question. Ask that question that he just had out there and see what it says about severance, government employees, whether or not any of them are receiving unemployment yet. I think some of them might be, but you're right. They're probably getting severance too, and I don't know how long it is. I know some of them, we were talking about, if you quit on your own, they would give you severance going out to like September. But I don't know if they ended up firing you. I don't know if you got that. There's probably a lot of things that we need to figure out in regard to it, but I'm not worried about it. I am not worried about unemployment at all, honestly. And then, so we had James E. Thorne move index. We just experienced a normal, natural, healthy correction, and it was talking about how the move is dropping. I love all that. I think we've gotten through the rest of this. Let's jump to Tesla. If you're being paid, you can't get unemployment. That makes sense, or it would offset your unemployment, because I know I was on unemployment years and years ago. When I got let go from a job, and then I went back to school, and I was able to collect unemployment, but I was only working part-time jobs, and if you made too much, it subtracted away from your unemployment. So that part is very true. I actually collected unemployment for a year. I know how to work the system across everything, everything. Just like I didn't make house payments for a year. But that was totally legit too, because I ended up using the COVID stuff. I stayed home with my daughter to watch her, and then I was able to retire around that same time, and I was able to forego my mortgage payments for a year. I think some people are still fucking doing that from what I heard. I don't know how. That's insane. That's just got to be a scam. Kyle Wright, do Fed employees show up in unemployment while they're... Oh, that was your question, Tommy Davis. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's the AI thing. LW Crypto, if you're being paid, you can't... Yep, we already did that one. Main Stage News. Join late. Hope everyone had a beautiful weekend. I know I did. Jay Strez, Wall Street Bets has a bunch of posts showing huge weekend losses on Hood, betting college games bullish. That is good. Let's let those guys just bet on everything. Kobayashi letter said retail traders have bought a net $8 billion of Tesla stock in 2 weeks. There has never been a 2-week inflow even half as large. Retail is coming in for the bottom. Retail usually does a great job of marking the bottom with Tesla, which is unique, right? Not everybody gets that. You guys got to see this. This is so retarded. I think this is in Canada. Listen to how nobody's honking. We're going to go through this at like maybe 1.5, but nobody's honking for all these retards. But listen to this conversation.
How does boycotting Tesla save democracy?
It takes down a leader of the movement to dismantle democracy.
What movement?
Like Elon Musk, who happens to be Canadian raised as well.
Okay, so what's the problem with Elon Musk?
He's not Canadian raised. He lived in Canada for a short period of time before he could get his U.S. citizenship. He was born in South Africa, you dumb bitch.
Movement is he leading?
I'm sorry, I'm not here to debate with you. Sorry.
She doesn't want to answer any questions. She's got a sign trying to talk about how bad he is, but this is the same MO. They don't even know what they're doing, and they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to give you any ammo because they know they're uneducated.
Research on Google.
I know I can do research on Google, but you're protesting. I just wanted to ask what movement is Elon Musk a part of that's not good for democracy? Can I see that sign?
Notice nobody is honking.
What does that say? Where's Elon Musk's marbles? What does that mean?
I don't know. Can you read?
But it's your sign. I'm just asking. I just want to know what it means to you.
What it means is that he's an idiot. That's what it means.
He's an idiot in what way? What's he
He's an idiot. Okay.
doing?
You know what? I don't want to engage with you.
She got that one from AOC, right?
Sorry. If you are interested in this topic, please read up about it. It's all over the news, the internet, all kinds of information available to you.
Okay, but you guys are here with the sign, so maybe you know more about it than I do.
I'm not here to explain this to you. I'm here to support this movement.
You're not here to explain it to anyone?
Not to you.
I think MSTR will bounce harder main stage, but I don't know, man. Sometimes you never know. It could be Tesla. There could be a massive backlash. Think about it. What if Q1 is fucking brilliant? Everybody expects them to have huge reduction in orders. I bought 3 of them this last month, and I'm not alone. There's a lot of people talking about supporting Tesla. So lots of them, lots of people that wouldn't have bought them before. And you already saturated the liberal market, right? You've already gotten a lot of liberals to buy your car. Now, for the first time ever, you got a bunch of Republicans that have never wanted to buy an EV. And you just got them to be like, fuck these liberals, let's go buy one. So I don't know, man. Maybe Tesla outperforms. It's possible.
No, I've explained it to you and you refuse to accept it.
And you got to remember, too, we also have the Megapack factory spinning up. You got the Tesla semis coming. You got all these things that they're doing that people aren't quantifying. You got full self-driving in fucking China. I mean, imagine all the additional revenues that are coming in. There's a reason Elon said in that report that you should maybe keep your stock. He was telegraphing. He does that all the time. If he thinks it's overvalued, he'll tell you, and if he thinks it's undervalued, he'll tell you too.
All you said is Elon doesn't have marbles and that he's an idiot. Do you think he's an idiot for like sending rockets into space and stuff?
Yeah, I don't want to do any of that value. I want it all to be done for me.
Why?
Okay, listen. I'm not here to debate with you. You're not prepared to accept any information, so sorry.
Well, no, I'm asking.
Are you guys accredited media or what?
Just independent.
Accredited.
Independent. What's the problem?
Are you guys gonna spend this
What
where
is
we
your
look
sign?
good?
Can I see?
No?
John Bond,
Okay.
a swastika.
Leave.
Do you think he's a Nazi?
Yes, he is a Nazi.
What makes
Behaving like
what makes you say that? What's he doing for him to be a Nazi? You know that's when he did that. He said, "My heart goes out to the American people," when he was talking about freedom.
Yeah, okay, we've got to...
Get
Get off our faces. What? What did you call me?
You're fascist.
Fascist. What? What makes me a fascist? What makes me a fascist? That sign makes me a fascist.
This is so good. I love this lady.
You're
I want
pointing
to
to Elon
adopt
Musk
her.
when he said that his heart goes out to the American people. That's what makes him a Nazi? Oh, you've got his points? You're just pointing? Okay.
1,000 words.
1,000 words?
The picture tells the story.
Okay.
The picture tells the story.
The picture.
Even though we have pictures where it looks like Obama's doing that, Joe Biden's doing that, Alexander Ocasio-Cortez is doing it, probably Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton. You could literally get that moment for every single fucking major Democrat in the last 10 years. But it tells a story because it's Elon Musk. Okay.
Tells the story. But did you see the video?
Thank you for making it happen. Thank you. My heart goes out to you. It is thanks to you that the future of civilization is assured.
Anyway, there's a bunch of this. You'll get like a couple of people that'll honk.
They're getting the occasional honk of support. Maybe these people will not call me names. Let's see. Can I ask you guys about your sign? You don't like Doge? You don't like Musk? Did you know that?
You don't have to be here.
Did you know that?
It just keeps going like this, guys. They just keep hiding. People keep driving by, and nobody honks. It just lets you know, though, like this is the Democratic Party. They're only losing votes. It's really sad. Tesla Chan. Breaking. Tesla Chan has officially announced, or Tesla China, sorry, has officially announced that FSD update for hardware 3 and 4 vehicles will be available via over-the-air updates. Also, the paused FSD 1-month trial will be redistributed. Everything is currently pending regulatory approval. So you're going to see massive, and again, some of this stuff won't count towards Q1, but some of this will. The mega packs, all this other stuff is happening. This guy, this is a military veteran, and he does a Heil Hitler to these guys because they keep calling him a Nazi. I won't lie, I did that with somebody too. I actually put it up here. So I had somebody, I was going to eat to supper with a friend of mine, one that won't talk to me anymore because evidently I'm a Nazi too. But we were driving in the Cybertruck and some people downtown. This guy was next to us and he kept doing a Heil Hitler to me. I don't want to do it too much on here because somebody might screenshot it, call me a Nazi. But so I did it back to him, and then the guy looked scared and wouldn't look over. So I think he actually thought I was a Nazi. I think these fucking morons thought the same thing. Listen to this. fuck you. He's like, and he says in here, he's like, I'm a military veteran. I mean, maybe from a distance, he looks like his stash is like Heil Hitler. I don't know. But he's essentially a military veteran. And his wife has to like grab him and be like, honey, come back. He's probably got my disposition. But again, these are just normal people. We're not Nazis. And fuck these guys. But when you were listening to them, they're like, oh my God, he did a Nazi salute. Oh my God, they're real Nazis. These people are so fucking retarded. Let's keep going. 53 billion company fleeing Delaware to reincorporate in Indiana. Good job, woke Delaware activist judges. So you've got, this is Simon Property Management. These guys do a bunch of malls. I don't know if you know who they are. They're leaving too. You got talk of Facebook leaving. Delaware is absolutely fucked. Like 25% of their yearly revenues come from this. And it's gone. It's just gone. It's all leaving. They're fucked. That state is fucked. Sawyer Merritt, all because of one stupid woke-ass liberal judge not being fair. This is what happens. When you do the wrong thing, you make it to where people are like, fuck this, I'm leaving. Tesla Giga Berlin factory has increased its localization of suppliers with recent switch to the new Model Y, with 92% of components coming from somewhere in Europe. So this makes us even more resilient to disturbances in world trade. So again, this is kind of what I was saying too. Tesla's up 4% in pre-market. My TSLL is probably like up 8.2. This could do really well because again, they're not really impacted by tariffs. I don't know that people realize that. All the other car companies are going to be, but they are not. Whether it's Canada, whether it's Mexico, whether it's China, they don't have that impact because they source so much locally, whether it's their United States branch, their China, or their European. They're brilliant at this. My buddy Jake, he's got Tesla, false curl, MACD cross, and lots of upside here, guys. He's showing volumes not really kicking in till 350, 360. I mean, I agree. I think that's probably like the next break. And we'll look at my charts in a little bit here too, but I really agree with him. I think it's going to do well. Again, we don't have more data until 8:45 and the market opens up at 8:30. So we got a good 40 minutes to talk. We're going to roll through a lot. Breaking, Tesla search interest remains at an all-time high. Will this pump Q1 sales? So not just search interest, but buy a Tesla, really high. Looks like this. Sell a Tesla, much lower. And short Tesla, much lower. So all the things point up, guys. All of them point up. Average $9. What are we talking about? $9. Might have missed something there. Laughed my ass off. I have my IRA all in on Tesla or TSLL until 350 or 360. That's probably going to turn out pretty good. Mitt, Jesse, are you still looking at January 600 calls? I was thinking about it, but now that it's pumping like crazy, I probably won't. Will I do it though? Maybe. I like the 600 strike. I like January, and again, maybe I end up doing something a little bit different than that. I'll definitely post it and let you guys know. But run it yourself. I've got the Options 101 video. I show you guys how to do this stuff. I show you how to find open interest so that you can make sure that you're getting in the right contracts as far as volume and open interest. I show you how to be able to quantify roughly what you're going to get in returns using this profit calculator. You got all the tools, man. So definitely check out the Options 101 video if you haven't. Listen to this real quick. So this again, I wonder if Q1 is going to be what the Democrats think it's going to be and what these liberal woke ass people think it's going to be, and all these dumbasses on Reddit that are shorting this stock because they think they've got some fucking edge.
We are out here in North Austin. Behind me here is the Tesla delivery center where there was several staged disturbances here. What the incredible news is that I have to share with you is that it has done completely the opposite of its intent. Sales have actually spiked here. Traffic into this location has actually jumped significantly. I was just inside dropping off a few pizzas to a few of my Tesla friends here, and they were telling me the leadership here was actually exclaiming about how sales have actually jumped. They have seen a large increase in traffic, and these disruptions that have been going outside here on the boulevard have not impeded the traffic into this location whatsoever, and exciting to share that it's had the opposite effect. So wonderful things happening here in...
Isn't that great? Like I'm hearing so much of that. Again, I bought 3 Teslas. I didn't have to. I was going to buy some Teslas in the future for family members to use, but I literally bought 3 Teslas in a month just to support Elon, and there's so many people that have done this. Let's look here. FSD can handle an extremely adversarial example. Remember that fake, like, oh, hey, we did this thing where we put, I don't remember if it was a mirror or what it was. Well, let's look at how the test actually goes when you're using FSD and not autopilot. There you go.
Not touching the brakes, not touching the wheel.
He's got a fake wall up here that looks just like a road. It's a picture, though.
Sees the wall, stops.
That's how it actually works, guys. Whole Mars catalog. Finish him. This is over the weekend. Just spent $140,000 on puts. It's half of my net worth, so might need some support. This guy's fucked. Fucked. Who is this? Oh, this is because of Garcia Capital. I don't know why people kept retweeting this post. He only had 11 fucking likes on here. It's not like anybody seemed to really care about it on Reddit. But this guy shorted some shit, and he's just going to get wrecked. He's going to be wiped out. It's half of his net worth. He's done. That's what you get. If your hate for Elon Musk gets you this, like, good luck, bro. All right, let's see what else we got here. Again, just a bunch of... Oh, this is great. So we actually have supporters now blocking the detractors against being in front of the Tesla place. They have to be on the other side because these Trump supporters took up this whole side over here. Even though they were just... Our Trump Elon supporters took up this whole side, which is just great. Again, I think this is wonderful. Eventually, all this noise will die down. It's really going to die down when all these guys get fucked with their puts. And again, people are just going to move on. People get bored. Even the tariff talk, people get bored. That's the thing you got to realize. The narratives last for a while and then they disappear. What matters is the ultimate master plan of Tesla to create a sustainable abundance for all. This is what matters, guys. This is the signal. It's the auto bidder tied in with their energy solution. It's their solar. It's the energy storage tying in with the charging. It's the charging tying in with the cars that tie in with the battery cells and the lithium refining, service and collision, and their insurance program, and ties into their full self-driving, which ties into robotaxi and AI compute and Optimus. This is the future, man. If you can't look at this and understand how important this is, and how huge this is going to be, I can't fucking help you. Also, Matt Wallace posted this. Here's your first in Texas, of all places. This is so fucking hilarious to me. In Texas, we've got our first energy, like they've got all the power walls, solar, everything, solar roofs from Tesla. They're showing a location where literally your energy needs are provided by Tesla.
The Tesla Cybertruck.
Just look at this. This is so cool.
Is the entire community is powered by Tesla's groundbreaking solar technology.
I mean, just look at this. All the solar roofs, power walls.
24/7. This is the first Tesla-powered community.
This is just going to be bigger and bigger in the future, guys. And the Sonawaki said, Tesla now officially testing full self-driving in Europe. Launch coming soon. Cool. We've got Keith Fitzgerald says, the noise from the nonsense has never been more important. He'll explain why he's been adding to NVIDIA, Apple, and Tesla, and why he sees Tesla as a $20 trillion company. Keith is the principal of Fitzgerald Group and has over 3,000 primetime TV appearances. So, again, it's just cool stuff. Breaking, Tata Group partners with Tesla for entering India. There's so much going on right now. I don't know how retail could have been washed out by what happened. They must have just been too leveraged or something. And again, this is Elon telling you to hang on to the fucking stock.
So what I'm saying is hang on to your stock. so
he literally, when he says shit like this, I mean, the dude's autistic. He means it. He literally means it. Also, why do we need LiDAR? Can somebody tell me why we need LiDAR? Can you drive in this kind of fog? I can't. There's a tree, I think. I don't know where the road is, but look at the screen. You don't need LiDAR, guys. You don't need it.
Now your destination is on the right.
Yeah, that's good, though, Victor. People don't seem to understand, like, outperformance and underperformance. I don't know why. This must be your first cycle. I hope it is, because that would make more sense. But he's like, Bitcoin's at 87K and CleanSpark isn't even at 8. That's good. That's where you make the money, okay? When CleanSpark was at what, 25 or something? 25 in March. That wasn't going to be the time. I thought it could, and it could have ran, but it didn't. I was wrong about the timing of it, and sometimes that happens. But like, let me just pull this up real quick. I want to jump over to this. I want to cover this comment. So again, I did a post about this, but it's good when you have an RSI trend line that goes back to 2020 that isn't getting touched and you're getting ready to go higher. It's good that it's up 4% today. It was down 4% last week. This company has had a lot of hurdles. It's got Matt Schultz blocking people instead of talking and engaging with them. That hurts. It's again, Bitcoin miner, all of them have been crushed. It's not just this one. You can look at Iron. Iron did really well it had the HPC, I was going to say NPC narrative, had the HPC narrative for a while, right? And so when all the other miners were getting crushed December of 2024, it was just hitting a new high off of that, where it was in July. So this was kind of like a different cycle for it, right? But now it's finding a W bottom, and the measured move for it could easily get us above 32, maybe into the 50s. So like just all of these have been beat up. This is our edge now, though. It doesn't have to be right where it was before. It's an asymmetric bet. So it's going to be asymmetric to the upside and the downside. That's how this shit works. It doesn't just give you 3 to 4x multiples. Hell, CleanSpark was up 6x the underlying asset for a while. I like to say MicroStrategy will give you 2 to 3x, and then miners will give you 3 to 4 the underlying asset. CleanSpark was up 6 fucking x the underlying asset. So again, if it's going to give you 6x to the upside, it's sure as fuck going to give you pain to the downside, right? So you got to understand that. Look at my posts, understand this stuff, spend time getting it. If you don't get it, you're just going to suffer a lot in the future, man. That's going to be your life. If you don't get that it's not going to be perfectly at that level. It's just not. It's not how shit works. But it will start to outperform now. And Bitcoin will underperform it because Bitcoin will underperform the proxies. That's what's going to happen. Again, you got people trying to assault people with Tesla owners, but a lot of what I've been seeing, guys, has been really, really positive. It's been really positive. Let's move on to Bitcoin. Then we'll get back to Trump. Haha, I get you, Jesse. Here I am complaining after seeing Palantir touch 120. Yeah. So, again, it's one of those things where Palantir, I made $600,000 or something off of that one. That was great too, and it went a lot higher. But it's one of those things where you just have to be ready. You have to mentally understand what's happening. You got to have the experience for that, or understand it from somebody who does. And then you got to look at the big picture, because again, Bitcoin, literally, the biggest signal right now is that Bitcoin just back tested its high in 2020 and 2021. It just back tested its high. And now it's bounced hard off of it. And we've got global liquidity expanding. This is beautiful. And we got MicroStrategy buying the fucking dip. 6,911 Bitcoin, continuing to acquire more than any nation state that's out there. And again, CleanSpark, my targets for this thing are literally on the low end, $25, $27. On the mid end, $37. And then on the upper end, $58. And I tell you what, man, if it gets to 37, you'll feel a lot better than you do at 7. You will. Trust me, that's how it works every fucking cycle. And then you have Bo. You got Bo. This is the thing that I don't know why it took people like 3 fucking days to catch on to this, but let's listen to Bo. Somebody who is in charge, Trump's executive director of digital assets, talking about their plans for Bitcoin.
Well, we delivered on the president's promises that he made on the campaign trail. The president was adamant about creating the SBR. We wanted to make sure that we did it right in a way that respected Bitcoin for being so unique, and also gave credence to innovation in other spaces of the digital asset world. So, for us here, we look at Bitcoin, it's not a security, it's a commodity. It has intrinsic stored value that's traditionally accepted. It has, as David likes to describe, the immaculate conception. There's no issuer. And, that's why, as
This guy 100% gets it.
you saw in the executive order, we compared this to digital gold. It's something that's imperative for the United States to have, retain, continue to build on. And I think that's worth pointing out that, the way that this is constructed, we talked about ways of acquiring more Bitcoin in budget neutral ways that won't cost the taxpayer a dime. And what I like to say about this president, I think it's high time that our president started accumulating assets for the American people, which is what President Trump is doing, rather than taking it away. And I think that's one thing that we really wanted to make clear in this executive order. And we're looking forward to working with our partners at Treasury and the Secretary of Commerce in order to find those budget neutral ways in which we can acquire more. I've been asked all the time, it's like, how much do you want? And I said, well, that's like asking a country, how much gold do you want, right? I mean, as much as we can get.
As much as we can get. People finally seem to be finding the signal on this. My boy Funstrat I put on here likes to talk about the best 10 days of the year and how they come after the worst, and how the best 10 days of the year will give you the vast majority of gains. That's actually even more so with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has I think it's 18 or 19 days. It might be in the 20s. I don't remember off the top of my head. Maybe somebody can grok it, where 90% of the gains come in for the cycle. Imagine that. Imagine over 4 years, imagine that number, 1,500 plus. You got all these, you got 1,700 days, something like that. And you're trying to fish for the best days because you think you're such a good day trader that you're going to be able to find those. That is just a fool's errand. And when you're low, and again, this trend line, this green one right here, guys, this is a trend line that goes back 4 fucking years. And you thought it was going to go a lot further? I just don't understand that. That would be Bitcoin doing something it's never done before, remotely. So, not that things can't be different, but this was the signal again. This right here. This neutered top because of the fastest raising of rates in history down to the 15,000 bottom, which I called almost perfectly. And I leveraged in to leaps on MicroStrategy, Mara, and CleanSpark. I think I might have even had Riot, but I gave up on it. But then I didn't hold my Oh, I wish I would have kept my MicroStrategies, yo. I sold those really, really quickly. I made good money off of them, but oh my God, I'd be so fucking rich right now. I would probably have $30 million, $40 million right now if I would have held those instead of 3.5-ish. So that's a little painful, but you always have that, right? But look at this. So all this resistance back tested and turned into support, and now we're taking off at a time where global liquidity is expanding. You'd have to be retarded not to pay attention to this. Here's more signal. David Bailey. This is the MetaPlanet shareholder meeting in Japan right now. There's a huge line still trying to get in. Japan is ready for Bitcoin. Might be worth getting some just in case it catches on. Look at this. This is just one country. The Bitcoin Therapist, Part 3, 444,000. So that is the number that Josh Mann put out there. The same guy who perfectly called 84,000 down to a T and the day. And this guy is from Salmon Brothers, and he's brilliant. And he's the new plan B, guys. He's the new plan B. Every cycle we have something like that, right? We have a plan B. We have a target that's really fucking high and higher than everybody thought it was going to be, but it's a prophecy. It's a prophecy every fucking time. This is our prophecy. And we don't have to get to it, but it raises the bar significantly, doesn't it? Because everybody before we had this big washout, before we got Bitcoin strategic reserves and states talking about custodying it, and 200% more companies custodying Bitcoin over the last fucking year, before we got all that stuff, now we have a prophecy, but back then it was like, oh, people were like 150, 180, maybe 200s. Now they're 444. So the prophecy has been established, and this is great because it gives people a beacon, and they don't want to sell before the beacon. Not that we hit it, but it will ensure that we probably have higher price targets. And my boy, Mr. Lee, love you, my brother. Almost forgot what a Bitcoin Sunday night pump looked like. I hear you, but we got it, right? We got it. And again, let's just keep looking at this. Bitcoin Therapist, as I've said before, strap the fuck in. So we're looking at golden crosses and what happens, 139%. Golden Cross, 2,200%. Golden Cross, 1,190%. Golden Cross. Again, we had a fake out. We had a fake out over here, right? Got a lot of people on that fake out because Bitcoin had finally broken out from its zone, its previous high, but then it started consolidating in it, and everybody's like, "Whoa, we're going straight up from here right away." But all we had was a little fake out. It's not a fake out this time, guys. This is a clean break. This is a clean break, and it lines up with everything macroeconomic-wise that we would want to see. 20 minutes still till the bell, guys. Anthony Pompliano claims people are drastically underestimating how maniacally the United States is about buying Bitcoin. I agree. I totally agree, Pomp.
Clarity.
Let's listen to Pomp.
Clarity. That's the key word here. Regulations, taxes, all of those things. Are we getting closer to that?
Well, I think Bitcoin's always been the most clear asset, right? It is the one that everyone has agreed is not a security, it's a commodity. I do think there are still things that can be done. The single most important thing in my mind was the United States saying we're going to set up the strategic Bitcoin reserve. I think people are drastically underestimating how maniacal they are going to be about buying Bitcoin. Everyone thinks it's cute that they put 200,000 Bitcoin over here and now we have this reserve. They are going to continue to buy Bitcoin, and they are going to buy as much as they possibly can because there's a global race going on. Russia, Abu Dhabi, El Salvador, Bhutan, all these other countries are trying to buy Bitcoin. We are going to beat them there. And we now have a president and an administration that is fully focused on that. And so the same way that there was a space race, there's now a Bitcoin race. And that Bitcoin race is how many coins can we go ahead and get?
So the price right now, what is it? We got it on the screen, 84,000. Where conceivably could this thing go?
Well, it depends on the time frame, right? I think
based on all that demand.
Yeah, there's tons of people who have all these crazy predictions for what's going to happen in 2025 or 2026. I always say remove the time frame for a second. And if you look at something like gold used to be worth a couple dollars, tens of dollars, hundreds of dollars. Now it's worth thousands of dollars. Bitcoin, same thing. And I think that Bitcoin one day will be millions of dollars. The question is, what is that time frame? Is that a 5-year exercise or is that a 15-year exercise? And so, I'll leave the predictions to somebody.
So he doesn't give time frames as much anymore because A, he was never really good at it. And then B, he got a bunch of people burned with Voyager and like all this other shit. I can't remember what he might have been. Was he Block? I don't know. He was some of the bank ones that all the things that collapsed and everybody lost all their fucking money. So Pomp takes a step back now and doesn't like to do too much of that. And I don't blame him, dude. But I'm better at that than he is. Thank you, Camshaft911, for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Now you can talk and chat. Let's real quickly get caught up with chat. At least I didn't spit my super. Thanks for making me laugh, Victor. That was awesome. He said, man, excuse my vocabulary, but I got a boner if CleanSpark goes to 40. I hear you, bro. I probably will too. In fact, I could make, if you guys, the calls I have, if I did a good job timing, then my estimates could be closer to 20 to 30, maybe $40 million by the end of this year, which would be nuts. It would be life-changing money. I mean, I'm already a millionaire, but it's just kind of the fuck you money. You know what I mean? Like I could put a huge swath of that in conservative, just even dividend income and just live fat off the hog for the rest of my life. Not to mention all the other stuff I love doing, which is the investing. I won't be quitting. I might do shorter streams. If I get to $20 to $30 million, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I might just do it a couple days a week and try and summarize things a lot and spend more time just living my life. But I will still be great at what I do because I work hard and it's just the way I am. But I'll be able to lower some of that and maybe automate some of it. But anyway, keep going. Let's see here. Spanish humor. Jeff L. Nahaha meant. Javi, sorry, but can you explain the difference between it being called a security versus a commodity? Yeah, so securities are things where they have stronger regulation against them, but all that changed. So first off, Bitcoin's been recognized as a commodity even from dipshit Gary Gensler, the last SEC chair. But securities like Ethereum and others, well, Ethereum was kind of unclassified, but he basically said that all shit coins were securities, and so it made it. And then he didn't give guidance on how to get in compliance. It was just a really shitty thing for Bitcoin and crypto for a while. All that stuff is fixed. That's all gone. The CFTC is on board. They're like banks start custodying Bitcoin. Your local bank will have a hardware wallet for you to store your Bitcoin. I mean, you can do that if you want, if you really trust them. But there'll be tons of that. There'll be tons of stuff like that in the future. SEC's on board. We're good. We're good. It's all good. Paul, Should have gotten into MSTX 10 days ago. Knew it, but didn't jump on it. A lot of people do that. That's pretty normal, man. It's hard to buy a dip. Falling knives are fucking painful. Rebecca, yes, I was not happy that he sold his CleanSpark position. Oh, Stock Trader Max. Yeah. Well, everybody has a breaking point. Don't be too harsh on him. Trust me, he's probably regretting it right now and wondering if he made a mistake. And if I'm right about where things are headed in the next, several quarters, he's going to really regret it. So, I mean, everybody learns lessons in life. So we don't need to be hard on him. He'll give himself a hard enough time, I think. Luke, do you think the bottom is in? You said BTC could potentially go lower. It could, but it didn't need to, right? We looked at how it was on a trend line that went back to 2020, and that was going to be strong support. It does not need to go lower. It doesn't have to. Could it? All kinds of things can happen, but no, it's probably not going to. Raber got blocked by Josh. Bummer. Hey, if I become friends with Josh, you can give me your ID and I'll hook you up. I don't know him right now though, but a lot of the times I become friends with people in the space, or they get to know me and they'll do me favors. Victor said, I'm not a millionaire, sadly, but since 2021, I have 5x my savings, so now I have more than 600,000. Dude, you could be a millionaire this year pretty easily. Amit, Jesse, can we get a micro to macro retirement compound with our gains for everyone? Yeah, right. I don't know. If I ever figure out, I don't want to do an ETF, because look at like people like, I've just heard people will sue you like crazy and they'll exit at the wrong time. And then you have to, I don't know. I just don't want to deal with any of that shit. I like not being a financial advisor and just giving you my input and telling you guys what I'm doing. I think that's a fun way to be. Victor, 200,000 are in CLSK, 90K in Mara, and Palantir at 17. Yeah, it sounds like you're going to do good, man. Alex Garcia, Victor in Spain, you are rich, dude. Who, me? Oh, no, Victor. Oh, yeah, 600,000. Yeah, totally, dude. That's a decent amount of money. You're going to have a lot more, too, by the end of the year, so you'll definitely be in that category. Sawyer, could we check out the AMD calls? Looks like they're bouncing. Yeah, we can look at it. Your Uonic alert CNBC. What is Uonic? I don't even know what that is, Mike. Jeff L, trying to learn more about technicals. You see resistance on BTC in the low mid 90s. Yeah, I do. We can pull up some of that in a second. Let's keep rocking and rolling. So we got the stupid Jamie Dimon thing. We got not to the reserves, the X post by Max Kaiser. Oh yeah, so this Max Kaiser. So this was talking about the International Monetary Fund buying Bitcoin as reserves. All that stuff was bullshit. So here's the truth. The X post by Max Kaiser quotes a thread from Crypto India, which cites the IMF's New Balance of Payments Manual, 7th edition, BPM 7, released on March 20th of 2025, as the basis for Bitcoin being added to the global money tracking. So it's for a tracker. The original source of the BPM 7 update is the IMF's official website, where the manual was published, detailing how cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are classified as non-produced, non-financial assets. A Crypto Slate article from March 21st confirms the IMF's update, noting that the BPM 7 was developed with input from 160 countries, and it marks the first time digital assets are integrated into global statistical standards. Remember, they want to have a CBDC where they can trap you into it and control what you do with your spending. That's their goal for Europe and other parts of the world. They're not succeeding at it. Max Kaiser's claim about the IMF adding Bitcoin to its reserve and the SDR basket lacks a direct source in the provided threads or web results, as the IMF's BPM 7 update only addresses statistical classification, not reserve inclusion. The IMF's recent stance on Bitcoin, as seen in Forbes' article from March 4th, shows the fund urging El Salvador to stop accumulating Bitcoin, casting doubt on Kaiser's claim that they're adding it. I don't know if it casts doubt. They could be adding it, but here's the thing. They told the USA and they told El Salvador they shouldn't fucking be getting it, which means they probably are adding it. I don't know. The SDR basket, per the IMF's website, currently includes 5 currencies: US dollar, euro, Chinese renminbi, and Japanese yen and British pound sterling. I could see them adding Bitcoin, whether they're telling you that or not. Anyway, so that's the truth of it. That's the dirty details, okay? Just so you guys know. Let me see here. Alex Garcia, my job is in risk. They want to take all Europe jobs to India. Oh, yeah, no, I believe it. Yeah, totally. Jesse, you still feeling good about ArcG? Yes, I love ArcG. Here, I'll just bring it up for a second because you guys are asking about it. So I actually think there's a massive opportunity in ArcG. I like this way better than the PayPal stuff. PayPal was just such shit. And PayPal could do all right, but like, oh, fuck. I wouldn't want to be against X payments. Every day that goes by, they're starting to find real competition. But so in pre-market, we're up 2.4%. On Friday, we were up 2% on ARKG. The calls, I think, could really scream a lot. They're up. It's been 1,500 days since the high. It was down 81% from its high, 1,500 days ago. It's currently down 79%. I can make 10 or 11x if it just doubles, and then 10x the underlying. So I can make 1,000% off of a doubling over a short period of time if it goes up to my max target, the .618. And again, this thing only has $1.04 billion in assets under management. It can go up very, very high, very, very quickly. If you look over here, I mean, look at the parabola that occurred when this thing on April 20th, after the pandemic, so it was doing good, then the pandemic happened and brought it down. Let's ignore the pandemic. Let's just draw it from like where it was, maybe $37. Let's look at this thing and how much higher it went and that speed of it. Let's not count the full bottom. So it went up 218% to a market cap probably of like not even 3 billion AUM. Not even 3 billion AUM. And it did that over the course of how many days? Let's just call it from here, April of 2020 to January of 2021. So it can do that in 3 quarters. It can go up 200%. I've got calls for this bitch in January of 2026, and I've got calls for it that go to June, I think, June or July of 2026. And so I've got both of those ranges. And this thing, and this was before it dropped 82% or whatever down to the bottom. So now its ability to go up 100, 200% is just really, really good. And so, yes, I feel very strongly that if we encounter a risk on market, which I think we can do by the second half of this year, that these calls could scream higher and make us shit tons of money. I could make $10 million plus just off of this if we hit that second target up here at the .618. I think I can get close to that number. TLT is not performing right now, but again, it's more of an insurance hedge. Let me pull that up real quick here too. So TLT is more about having insurance, right? It's that rates are going to come down. Why are rates going to come down? They're going to come down if the economy starts sucking ass. So if the economy starts sucking, rates are going to be lowered dramatically, right? Because the Fed's going to have to do their thing. So I've got about 350K, I think, in this, or roughly 10% of my position, maybe a little bit more, maybe 11 in this. But this is an insurance policy. I do still think that it can run very quickly. And I don't know if this happened over like a quarter. If this happened over like a quarter or two, I would probably cash out. If it goes up 23%, and I showed you all the times over here, 22%, over here, 18, 19%. And then if you go back through it historically, again, very massive moves in short periods of time. It could do that again. And again, over here, 36%, 39%, 48% over very short periods of time. So I'm still holding this. I don't know. I might even add to it just as an insurance play for downside protection. But yeah, it's an insurance play. Now, there is the chance, though, that the market could actually be doing really well. And then people start to load into this because rates are still going down and we're seeing any kind of weakness around the world that makes it look like we're probably nearing a top. I've got January 2027s for this. So they could perform much later and it would still be okay. But this is just insurance for me. That's why when the markets were dropping stupid hard, I was selling this and people were like, well, why are you selling TLT? It's only up 4% today, or it's down 2% today. Why are you selling it? It's like, because this other thing that I really am getting excited about is down 20%, 30% for the day. And so I got excited about that, right? And it looks like Sol is up 7.5% today, guys, Solana. And again, last week, I bought like 30,000 in this. This was down 79%. I wish I would have got it down here. But look at the wick in Sol Strategies. Sol Strategies is actually only $268 million in market cap right now. Why is that interesting? Well, let's look it up. Sol Strategies. Let's see if we can find the NAV on Sol Strategies here. Oh, here we go. So what is the NAV right now for Soul Strategy? And guys, this thing does not have high volume. Literally, the day I was buying it, it had $250,000 in volume. Okay, so remember that. This thing is, it's not high volume. But if we look over here, let's see, we got it in here somewhere. I think they got their NAV on this page. Oh yeah, so look, they have, these are Canadian dollars. So I don't know the exact translation. Maybe somebody can convert it real quick. But this is showing 440 million Canadian dollars. I don't know what that is in dollars, but I think it's still probably really close to the market cap that we're seeing for Soul Strategies. If not, they've got more assets than they actually have for their market cap size. So this thing is a strong bouncer, but again, it's low volume. So I would only buy this on a day where we're doing really good. All right, so real quickly here, I'm going to refresh my screen. I might take my quick potty break that I do every market open, and I might actually just let you guys listen here to these losers. Let me see, though. I want to make sure that I don't leave you with just a blank screen, so I'm going to do it right about here, and then I'll grab some more coffee. I'll grab some more coffee, and then I'll be back right before the market open in 4 minutes. So give me a second here, guys. I will be right back, okay? Talk amongst yourselves.
5 minutes before we get started with trading. Lennar, I think, gets a downgrade that caught your eye.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because remember I was talking about how there's just people didn't like a Micron, and they didn't like FedEx last week. They didn't like Micron. They like Micron. Now, David, here's a downgrade about Lennar. Lennar bucked the trend. As rates went up, very rarely have you ever seen home builder stocks go up. Now rates are allegedly coming down, right? And you usually are supposed to buy these stocks. Everyone downgraded Lennar after that quarter. So I think you would say, well, where were you guys at 180? But now at 115, they're all against it. I'm beginning to think you have to take the other side of the trade. I know that the costs are going up because of tariffs. I know that rates are not coming down the way they want. However, when you look at valuation, they're suddenly becoming worth a lot more than I thought. And so I don't want to throw away Lennar.
So you're not necessarily a believer it's time to be downgrading these names?
No, I don't. I think that
even though, I mean, we remarked on this many times during what was an incredible upswing for the home builders during a period of rising rates. It was because of a lack of lack of supply,
because
right?
No one ever wants to say it's secular. But when I spent the day at Home Depot, David, it's secular. There's not enough homes. They can't build 4 million homes. There's not a lot. We don't have a lot of turnover. Everyone's just hoping that maybe there'll be more homes made. Lennar has the ability to actually make a lot more homes. Okay. So if we want to fixate just on gross margin, maybe we're missing a larger picture, which is that we don't have enough homes and they're a beneficiary. That's all I'm saying. Be more thoughtful about your downgrades, please.
All right.
Back.
It was Evercore that did downgrade.
All right, so we're going to bounce to live here. We'll let that roll. I love Bitcoin. Nice, Sawyer. All right, let me see what else we got here. What do you think about TLT still in play? All right, so I had that. We talked about that. Let me know if you have further questions. Akash Victor said asset under management, $1.44 billion. How does this ETF valuation work? What do you mean $1.44 billion? Where was the $1.44 billion? Here we go. So Solana total delegated SOL. They have in USD $480 million. What does that mean? Total Solana network is currently secured by total value locked TVL over 6.1 billion with approximately 40 million SOL tokens staked as of October 2024. What? This might even be better than I thought. Let me see here real quick. So let me just go back. What are they trading at? What is their market cap? Let me just find this real quick. Where the fuck? Where was I? Or did I bring it over here? I brought it over here. It says $268 billion. Or million? Billion. What? No, that can't be right. Million. Yeah, million. Okay, being retarded. All right, let me go back over here. Solana network is currently secured by a total value locked TVL of 6.1 billion with approximately 40 million SOL tokens staked. 40 million SOL tokens. That in and of itself is how much? No. Are they talking about actual tokens or dollar? No, they're talking about tokens. What the fuck? Let me just look at this real quick here. I'll have to do more research. I know, you know who has done a bunch in this? Who is like the OG is Invest Answers, but I haven't looked. Have you guys looked at what he's talked about it recently? 143.16. What the actual fuck? That can't be right. There's something. I got to understand this better. Bell in 1 minute. Okay, let's get back over. We can come back to this later. Here we go. Here we go.
Welcome back. We got an opening bell coming up. Any key to this market for you, Jim, this morning?
Well, you know.
Or not?
Yeah, no, there is. There's a stock that's in ascendancy that we forgot about that is clearly turning the corner. And that stock is Boeing.
Boeing, yes.
And there's a lot of moves that are kind of questionable that I didn't count on. One of them is the win with the new jet with Lockheed Martin, the next-gen air dominance program.
Just moving some stuff back around.
All the things that were, whether it be Air Force One, whether it be 737.
Oh, I muted it.
Aborted astronaut flight. That maybe
Muting the bell.
It doesn't seem.
All right, let's kill that. I'm just going to drag this off the screen so I can pay attention to it. And then we'll move over here and we'll look at how things are going. I want to see how Soul Strategies, is that today? Up 6.2%, 6.3. Cool. All right. Sweet. I do have to understand that valuation better, though, because now I'm starting to question myself on. But either way, it's doing all right today. It's going up. I like that. I like that. Let's go over and check real quickly on the watch list and see what's going on with the watch list. And do I even have? I might have to add that one onto here. I don't even know if I have it. So Biddy's down. Bitfarms is down. Don't know much about that one anymore. Move Index is down. Volatility is down with the VIX. That's all good. Grab's down. TLT is down 0.49%. Bitcoin dominance is down. The dollar is down slightly. Let's see what's up today. Render, AVAX, the 2X BITX fund, Solana, Near, just a bunch of these taking off. Let's see. And then MSTU and MSTX are in here. They're doing okay. MicroStrategy is only up 3% today. TSLL, Tesla's rocking it up about, well, this probably hasn't updated because Tesla's up 4.24. So this is probably going to pop even more in a second here. This one can be a little bit behind. Let's look at the heat map. Let's pull this bugger up. See how we're heating up. Looks like a pretty broad-based day, guys. Looks solid. Again, this is slightly delayed as well, but like outside of health and services and a little bit of communications for Verizon and maybe T-Mobile and just a couple of other oddballs, the market is doing really well. This is the Russell 3000, so we're looking at a lot of stocks here. Pretty broad-based distribution. The Russell is actually up. The Russell 2000 is up 1.5%, beating the NASDAQ, which is up 1.46, and the S&P, which is up 1.03. So again, I like the fact that the small caps are outperforming. Very, very healthy initiative on that. And then also, somebody was talking about this earlier. So the S&P, let me just pull this up real quick. It's a good thing when the S&P on the daily time frame is getting back above the 200 moving average. And it's receded just a little bit. In pre-market, it was getting close to it. So it's a little bit underneath of it right now. But this is what we want to see. We want to get above this downward trend line that was briefly support, broke down, went well underneath the 200 moving average. We want to get, this is the range we want to get above. We want to get above about 57.50. Whether we do that today or we do it tomorrow, this would be ideal. And again, when you pop in and pre-market, there's a chance that we go back down and try and close some gaps. That's always a possibility. But it would be great if we can get above these numbers. It's going to be a really, and again, we got the .618 fib underneath of us. This would be great if we get above the 200 moving average and we're right at this breakout line and we get back above that. It's going to look really promising from a technical standpoint for the S&P, and the rest of the indices are looking pretty good too. Are looking really good actually. So I'm liking what I'm seeing today. And it looks like Bitcoin 87,621. So again, we're getting a pop. MicroStrategy up 5.4%. So we're starting to see those run now. Let me refresh the screen here real quick on the watch list. And then we'll get back to some work here. But it looks like we're getting some pops today, guys. We're liking what we're seeing. We ain't hating it. We ain't hating it at all. Let me move my Soul Strategies off the screen here. Nope, that's not it. Is it this one? Oh, no, that's what I'm using for my watch list. All right, we can do that in a second then. Render, 11.77. MSTX is now up 11%. TSLL is up 10.56. MSTU is lagging, but that's the way some of these 2X funds work sometimes. I'm sure they'll catch up. A lot of the times, MSTU does better. Fannie Mae's getting back in there. Again, they're going to privatize, I think, soon. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. That's going to be cool. Solana's up 8.74%. Shibbities. That's beautiful. We got to look at that chart. Mara's up 7.15%, guys. Again, that will outperform. CleanSpark up 6.8%. Chat, how we liking today? How we liking today so far? Do you expect Hood to reach a new high this year? Yes, I do. Actually, I think Hood will do really great. I think Hood is the best exchange out there. Somebody was like, what do you like better, SoFi or Hood? Hood. What do you like better, Coinbase or Hood? Hood. It's just a fucking no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. And so I think actually what happens with Hood, bare minimum this year, I think, and they've got a 41 or almost a $42 billion valuation, so they're doing good. But I think they can get up to 80, 85. I think they can get up to, 80 is probably it. I think that's probably what's going to happen. Let me turn this green. Wouldn't surprise me at all to see them at 80 for a valuation or maybe an overshoot. That's just the previous all-time high. Isn't that crazy? In 2021, this thing was at 80 for the price. It's just nuts. It's such a better company now in every way, fundamentally. Every way humanly possible, a better company. Palantir's up only 1.9%. Again, I think it could underperform for a while. But Solana is still rocking. Again, seeing really good numbers on a lot of these guys. I'm not selling today. I'm probably not selling. I'm just going to let this ride. I don't care if we have a short-term retrace. I really don't care. For me, it's more important to be in than to be out at this. This screams a bottoming signal to me. So I'm just going to keep hanging. And if it doesn't, then I've got my TLT. And maybe I'll sell just a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. If some of these options contracts just explode, I might just shave off just a hair. But I don't have the intent on selling much. We do have more data coming out in 9 minutes. I'll probably stick around for that. And then I might bail afterwards. So if you guys got anything you want to see in the way of charts, I mean, get that shit out now. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you really, really want. Because I might want to take a look. See what I could do. And again, I liquidated a bunch of MSTX and MSTU. I am down to just a piddly, like 850,000 on those now. I was trying to distribute some of that. Please, for the love of God, give us a continuation. Everybody's just so disillusioned. You guys have been beat up for a fucking year, right? Legit. Like, it's okay. How does he like the Model 3? He loves it. So I got the roof rack. I used my referral points to get the roof rack on it. And then, so we installed that. And then we got a bunch of other little trinkets for it too. And then I got a mobile connector too. And he's going to get the windows tinted, I think, this week. And so he's going to have his blacked out, Model 3 that kicks ass. It's fast. It's like a little go-kart. It's a lot of fun to drive. Kyle Wright, can we look at Tesla price targets? Yeah, we can do that. I already talked about them actually in a post, so I'll just pull up the post because that's probably the best place. It's under my predictions. And yeah, here we go. So I said, I told you 1 year ago how we were going to make a ton of money off of Tesla in my previous post. And that was down here when I actually made a video a year ago talking about the 4 phases of Tesla consolidation and how I was going to make a ton of money. And I made millions of dollars off of that play. I was being conservative too. And now I'm saying the same thing. I'm saying, hey, we had this trend line. When you draw it correctly here, you could see like support. We broke above it, found a little bit of support, broke underneath, broke above it again, couldn't hold it. Resistance, 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 resistance. A little bit of support, broke up really hard, finally broke out, did really, really well. Went up into the 400s. I sold all my calls. I was lazy, though, and I didn't look at my calls and realize they were 2x or less of a multiplier. And I started buying back in, like over here and then down here. And then I sold them because I'm like, fuck, I'm retarded. These aren't even a good multiple. And then I was out, and then I was just kind of buying stock. And then I switched into TSLL hard. I'm sitting on $320,000 in TSLL as of this morning at the current level. And we have all this volume support. We got this 4+ year trend line of resistance turned into support now that finally got back tested. And I think we can very quickly go up to the 330-ish range right over here. Let me just show you where this volume gap is, this 320, 330 range. And then I think in short order, maybe by the middle of this year, we'll be at 420. How perfect is that? $420. So I love this chart. I think it's a really good looking chart for Tesla. And we got about 5 minutes until the bell tolls. I'm going to jump into the Trump stuff. I didn't get through the Trump stuff. Tino, Jesse, how you feel about Nike? I don't really pay attention to Nike at all. I think there's so much tough Chinese competition, and I think it's hard to really have, outside of brand recognition, it's hard to charge a really high premium on those shoes because it's not like owning a Tesla, right? So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. It could bounce. I don't know enough about that industry, the retail clothing industry, and like shoes. I don't know enough. Would you look at Synex and measured move targets? Yeah, I can try to do that. I really want to get through this news. You know what? Maybe we'll say the Trump side for tomorrow, and I'll try and get through some of these. Let me look here real quick. So first off, we were talking about AMD. Let's look at AMD. I want to look at AMD. Somebody was asking about that earlier. And then we'll try and get to Synex too, and maybe some of these others, because it's probably a good idea to look at some asymmetric bets in case we have really good upside. So AMD, you got gaming revenue plummeting, and then you have data center revenue going up exponential. It's actually hit 3.8 billion, even though gaming revenue is only at 500 million. But at its peak in 2022, it was only 1.875. So the data center revenue seems to matter a lot more. And margins on data center are better than gaming anyways. So I like that. Revenue's increasing. Net income looks good. Cash flow is nice. Cash flow was $1 billion in free cash flow. Not very low amounts of debt. Sitting on $1.34 billion in bonds, $3.8 billion in cash. Share dilution is non-existent, basically. Operating expenses are increasing, but a lot of that is in R&D. It's only got a forward PE of 23. It seems like it could be a 30 or a 40 pretty easily if it started to get some positive news and outperformance. Insider activity, let's see what that looks like. Not really giving us anything between buying and selling. It's pretty evenly distributed. Institutional ownership, though, has been growing massively. There was 319 million shares owned in 2016. Then in 2020, pandemic times, there were around 824 million. We did get a little bit of a peak, but then it started to die off. I think everybody was moving to NVIDIA. Short interest is non-existent. Sentiment is very bullish for news. An analyst is bullish, getting close to very bullish. Earnings call sentiment is very bullish. X Twitter is bullish. StockTwits is bullish. Social media, though, is not really getting a lot of talk about it. Let's look at the extended range. So this hasn't been hot since Q3 of 2025. Oh, it looks like this is a new metric, so we don't have a lot of data. So people aren't getting excited about it yet, even though estimates look good. EPS looks good. Let's look at the stock. Yeah, this is interesting, actually. I haven't looked at this one as an asymmetric bet, but it does look like it's actually starting to break above. No, I shouldn't. I need to redraw this. This isn't right. Let's do this the right way. Let's do it more like this. I think this is the right way to look at it. It was in a falling, maybe even broadening wedge. Oh, God, look at how perfect that is. Wait 1 second here. So if we just, well, no, maybe it's not that perfect. So this is what it was. So it was but it is good, though. It's still a good technical sign. So we had this, right here. We'll just draw it like this. Maybe a little bit more to encompass that other line. So we had this, and you could even say that other one wicked underneath just for a second and draw it like this. But this is good looking. You got a falling, broadening wedge, and I'm going to bring this up just a little bit here because, I mean, technically you could. All right, so I think that's good as far as the drawing of this. So what we're really looking for, though, is back over here. Let me see. So there's this technical. It probably looks more like this. I mean, really, this doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter anymore. I'm going to take that line off. When you're that far out of the range, it just becomes inconsequential. So we're only up a doubling since 2022, the bottom of the bear market. So this thing's only went up 122%. It fell 58% from its high, and it still has 105% roughly to get to its high. That is not a bad number. There's probably an asymmetric opportunity here because doubling is pretty easy. Then we have this upward trend line, right? And so let's start drawing out some new stuff here. This is kind of interesting, though. So you're still kind of in, I don't know, you could almost call that a range. It's not really, I mean, it's a rising wedge. And so a tightening wedge. And so it's not really a full channel yet. I would have been happier if it did something like this, honestly, because then if it really washed out and it got all the way down to like 86 or something, then it looks like a really clean channel. But technically it's kind of a rising wedge right now, tightening wedge. But again, if you just look at this based on time frames for the end of this year, it looks like without doing a breakout of any significance, it looks like it could go up 166%. Now, I don't know enough about the company's fundamentals to feel confident about it. I've delved into the chip space and gained a stronger understanding, but I still don't feel like an expert. Your calls are down a bit for TLT, a lot when TLT is barely flat. It's probably people selling them. They're probably selling them to buy other stuff. Mine are down. Yeah, it's down 10.8%. Again, we said this thing could be a 10 to 11x multiplier to the upside. It's down 0.74. So 11x, well, and right now TLT calls, it looks like they're down 8.89%. So that's about 11x, right? About 11x down, 11x up. It kind of makes sense. Again, it's more of an insurance play. Joseph Yossi, how does one become better at analyzing the macroeconomics and geopolitics? Any guidance or books or courses? I haven't gotten it from courses. I do specialize in talking about it all the time. So if you look at my posts on X, outside of maybe some inflammatory political beliefs that you might not like, I do literally talk about this stuff all the time in my X posts. I mean, all the time. It's all I do. I talk about technicals. I talk about macro. I talk about U.S. economic related data, but I'm also talking about geopolitics. I'm talking about how this country is doing, whether we're going to acquire Greenland, which I think we are. Even if it's just a stronger relationship military basis, we are. I think, though, geopolitically, we just want to run the country. So we'll probably give them $250,000 a piece for every citizen. There's only like 54,000 of them. I talk about China all the time. I talk about Russia relationship, what's going on with the war with them in Ukraine. I talk about, I'm literally so much into the macro landscape and geopolitical landscape. So you could just, again, this right here, last night, it looks like the Israelis hit a target in Hamas to blow up the latest leader of the country. He probably died last night. So I'm just constantly, and then I talk about the craziness in the UK where people in the middle of the night are getting, at 1 a.m. in the morning, they've got 2 women, police officers, coming to their door because they made a post that somebody didn't like, disturbing their fucking autistic kid. So I talk about a lot of macro and geopolitical stuff. I show people in Turkey that got just mowed over last night. These people aren't dead. But they did get shot and beat really hard, and so some of them are probably just incapacitated. Some of them might be dead. I don't think they are, but again, they beat the shit out of these people last night because the President Erdogan wants to maintain power, his 22 years of control. So I'm probably it. I'm probably it, man. I talk about it more than anybody I know on X or in real life. Unlock real estate. What's your game plan for ARKG? My game plan is to make a lot of money off of them. I think it can double this year. And if we already started to see it. I mean, look over here, guys. We had that run to 31 really, really quickly, right? I think that was an impulse showing us what's coming next. I strongly believe that. And now I might even draw this line out further because there's like a different, now that impulse is there, it's kind of changed the breakout line for me. So I'll probably draw it like this. Because, again, you got more confluence here. You got support, you got resistance, you got resistance, you got resistance, you got resistance. So I'll probably draw it like this now. But, again, I think this is telling a story of where it wants to go. It's only up 2% today. But I think once we break above this line, which very quickly in the weeks ahead, it could be the $30 range and then even lower into the 29s if it takes several weeks heading into June or July. I think it's really easy to get up to $40 where you have this trough in volume. And then it gets a little harder once you get up to the .382 where you're getting near 46. But you could make so much money off that 96% move. If you're getting a 7 to 8, 9x even off of that, that's sweet. And then by the time we get up to 60, it's probably a 10 or 11x move. Those are all really good things. Oh, we did get our other data out. Let's look here real quick, guys. I'm going to save this before I forget it. So that's updated now too in the Discord. Real quickly here. So S&P Global Composite PMI Flash, 53.5 versus 51.5. So the composite looks good. Manufacturing actually got beat up a little bit for March. This kind of makes sense because people are starting to get worried about tariffs. We haven't moved in a lot of new manufacturing yet, but we had some hype about manufacturing going up. Because if you look here, let's just look at the 3-year. We had the highest number we had seen, guys, since June of 2022. So it makes sense that we had a little bit of a retrace for the March data. The trend is still up, though. You can see like a trend line here. And if anything, it looks like we're establishing a new, more aggressive trend line up. Whereas manufacturing was, so we were trending up slowly. Then it fell off a cliff into September because, I mean, people were just worried about America. Are we even a viable country anymore? And then we started to go up a lot because of the Trump hype. And now we're retracing a little bit while people are waiting for all that to come to fruition. So I think this is good, and I think this is normal. So the manufacturing PMI was 49.8. The previous was 52.7. That came in lower than consensus and forecast. I think that helps our ability to be able to get a rate cut in May. Then the global services PMI, though, blew the shit away. 50.8 consensus, 51.1 forecast, previous 51. Our service sector economy is still strong. So you're getting kind of mixed messages here, but I think it still shows strength, guys. And yeah, Tesla's up 7% guys. I've got $330,000 in TSLL now. Wow. MicroStrategy up almost 5%. Mara up 6.7. Iron up 4.5. CleanSpark up 6.5. Solana up 8.11. I don't know how my strategies one is doing. Let's see. We should probably check that over here. I got to move some stuff. Anyway, let's, that's ARK. That's ARK up 2%. Again, this thing could perform. I expect this to be later than the other ones. There's just better plays. This is dialing further down the risk curve. So I expect this one to perform later, and hopefully I can dump more money into it, and those June 2026s would be great. AMD is up 3.44. Oh, yeah, I got to move that one over. Let's get that back over to here. NVIDIA is up 2%. SMCI is down today. Let's look over here, though. I'm going to move ARKG back out of my way because I want to pull up. Where is it? Right here. Okay, here's what I want to look at. I need to close this. Oh, damn it. This is my Soul Strategies one. How do I get out of this? I want Soul Strategies. I can't even go back. Son of a biscuit eater. Fucking, where's my axe, dude? Where's my axe, bro? All right, so I'll have to pull that up on a different screen. Whatever. And Trump coin, almost $12. And this thing, I think this, guys, for this cycle, I know this sounds crazy. I should actually, this is the trend-based fib extension. I think for this cycle, though, this thing could get as high as 73 to 295. I know that sounds crazy. I don't think it gets that high. Maybe it goes up to like 100 or something. So that's just a stupid number. But you never know with shit coins. So can Trump coin do 780%? Yes. Yes, I think it could. I know it sounds retarded, but I think it could. All right, so market's doing pretty good, guys. I think I'm done for the day. I'm just going to kind of, I got a lot of stuff to do. I got to build a fence. I got to do a bunch of other stuff. Got to try and keep my dog alive. Got a lot of work, okay? Got a baby to watch my nephew's baby usually in the afternoon with my parents. So I got to get to work. I got to work out. I got to do a bunch of shit. Needed this green day. Yeah, I think a lot of people needed this green day. Oh, SMCI got downgraded? Okay. I actually do. That's interesting. I still like SMCI. They do a lot of work for Tesla in these big data warehouses. I might have to think about that too. Anyway, I love you guys. I hope you have a great day. I'm up over 250,000 so far, it looks like. I'll wait for some of these numbers to refresh. I think it's probably closer to 300,000. But I hope you guys have as good of a day as I plan on having, whether the market maintains this lead or not. I think we're very much at the bottom, and I think it's just going to get better. And And so I'm excited. I'm excited about America. I'm excited about what's happening over the next year. If you're not excited about Bitcoin, America, and really just the world's ability to make progress, then I feel bad for you, because I like Warren Buffett always says, don't bet against America. And I think that's true. Even though he has got a huge cash position, you got to realize this guy works out over 10 or 20 years, and he doesn't get tech. He doesn't get Bitcoin. So he's got a lot of holes in his knowledge. He might just be past his prime, because even the way you value stuff is going to change in the future, or actually changing now, because we're international. We're not just based off of the United States GDP, and even the concept of GDP is going to change. There's going to be a lot of fucking money for everybody being made in the future, guys. So just remember that. And I'm actually going to switch it up a little bit. I like my Trump video, but I actually think the one that's probably most applicable for today is going to be this one right here. Just think about all the Reddit shorters of Tesla stock. Think about all the little baby tears. Think about that poor guy that just wiped himself out with Tesla puts. And I love you guys. This is not a Heil Hitler. This is my love for you and this country and everything that we're going to do in the years ahead. I will see you guys tomorrow, okay? Have a good one, guys. Peace out.